Hello, everybody. Welcome to Mindful Metal Jacket. I am Joe List, and I am happy that you are listening. I hope that you are also happy that you are listening. Right? Folks, it's becoming increasingly obvious that I should rehearse these intros, maybe write something down, get some thoughts together. I just rehit record. Rehit record? I don't rehit it. I should rehit it on this one because this is horrible. But I hit record. I start chatting. I'm here, and so are you, and we're all here. Be here now. Ram Dass said that. Folks, how are you doing? I hope you're well. We got some exciting news about COVID. It doesn't spread from asymptomatic people, and then 5 hours later they were like, just kidding. These are confusing times. How are you doing with it? How are you holding up? It seems like we're back. New York is opening. The country's opening. I hear it's spiking in some states, and New York had no new cases. I can't tell what the hell's going on here, but I'm here. I'm out in Long Island, and it's beautiful and sunny and breezy and warm, and Sarah is here, and we did stand-up paddle boards yesterday and swam in the pool and swam in the ocean. We're hiking. You know, I feel guilty. I'm having the time of my life. The whole world's coming apart, but we talk about it a little bit in this episode. You can turn it off. Maybe that's bad. I don't know. Maybe that's privilege or whatever, but you can avoid social media and turn off the news for at least a few hours. I recommend it. Taking a break, meditating, talking to some friends, loved ones, maybe making love. Who knows? Swimming, get into a natural body of water or a natural body of land if you have the means. Even if you're in New York, go to Central Park, the Ramble. Just keep your dog on the leash. Take a break. Take a break from it. You know, maybe you're listening to this podcast, you're taking a nice walk. Maybe when you're done, you can call your best friend. Maybe call someone you haven't talked to in a while. Check in. See how they're feeling, see how they're dealing with it. I think that's important. Connections, relationships, and being your best self. We talk about that a little bit. My guest today is Wil Sylvince, who you probably know if you're a big podcast fan or a New York comedy fan. Wonderful guy. He's a friend of mine. Obviously, I hadn't seen him in a while and hadn't talked to him in a while. And he's someone I've been wanting to have on the show since I started. We talked about him doing the show way back in January. We were in Omaha together working. And I wanted him on the show. He's a fascinating guy. He's like just a good, kind-hearted person, very wise, very well-read, opinionated in all the right ways. And he's thoughtful. And he's hilarious. He's also a boxer. And very, very healthy guy and a nice fella. And we talk a lot. We talk about his dietary changes and, of course, some mental health. And we talk a little bit about race and the current situation environment. There's a very small amount of politics. My apologies. Just references. I know no one wants to hear it or whatever, but it was a good conversation. We recorded it first thing Wednesday morning, yesterday, if you're hearing this the day it comes out. And I woke up, I went for a run. It's a beautiful day here. I've been running every day, taking a couple of days off here and there for health reasons, but, or whatever, recovery reasons, you know. Anyways, woke up, ran, had a nice bagel, and talked to Wil. So it's been a pretty nice day. The birds are chirping out here. And if you get in touch with the positive, get a little gratitude going, things are okay, folks. I think it seems like things are getting better. And we talk about it. It's all how you approach it mentally. So I hope you're doing well physically, and I hope you're doing well mentally. I appreciate you listening. And yeah, thanks for being here. And let me give you a little quote from one of my favorite people that I highly recommend, Eckhart Tolle. You know him from his book, The Power of Now, which is one of the best books ever written, in my opinion. And anytime you're feeling a little squirrely or down, go to YouTube, type in Eckhart Tolle, watch a little bit of him. He immediately calms me. And here's a quote about gratitude. Acknowledging the good that you already have in your life is the foundation for all abundance. So do that, folks. Take a little time to be grateful, maybe write down a gratitude list. And I can tell you that I am grateful that you're listening, and I'm grateful for all the kind emails and tweets and reviews. And I encourage you to continue to do that because it makes me feel good, which should make you feel good. Thank you, and enjoy this conversation with my friend, Wil Sylvince. We're live. We are here with Wil Sylvince. Will's rubbing his eyes.
Joe List, one of my favorite comedians.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I miss you. I miss seeing you.
I know we don't see. I mean, the whole world just got shut down. The whole world hit a reset button.
What do you think? It feels like it's starting to come back, though. Are you ready? Are you nervous? Where are your anxiety levels with COVID?
I think I already had it. My only concern is that I don't spread it to anybody else, like my loved ones, you know, the older people in my life. So I just don't want to give it to anybody.
Yeah,
if I have it.
That's
if I have it, I can live with myself. I don't give a damn.
That's my fear, is going home and seeing my mother, and then she dies 3 days later, and I have to live with that.
That sounds so sad just saying that.
No, she'll be fine. She hates me. No, I'm kidding. I love her. Well, thanks for doing the show. As you know, I'm hearing feedback. I don't know if that's on my end or your end, or that's getting recorded.
Hold on.
All right. For some reason when I'm talking, it sounds squirrely.
I just turned off my ceiling fan. Does that help?
Maybe. I don't know. It felt more like technical than that. I don't know what it is. I'm using a weird microphone, but I can hear you. You can hear me, right?
Yes. My refrigerator door is open. Shall I go and close that?
Is it really?
No, I'm joking.
Oh, no, for some reason I'm hearing like feedback on my end. I don't know why. I'm sure it's fine. If you can hear me all right, I can hear you.
I can hear you, yes.
All right, great. Well, as you know, I've been wanting you on the podcast. I remember talking about it when we were in Omaha together, when we went bowling, which was a fun night.
Oh, yeah, it was a fun night. Were you on my side, or was it each man for themselves?
I think it was every person for themselves. And
yeah.
I know Louis, I got to keep this quiet because he's here, but he came in dead last. He stunk it up. That's what I remember.
Yeah. He was doing good, though, at first, remember?
Yeah, like I think early on. And you're a lefty. You have a unconventional bowling style.
Yes, I'm not sure that's good or bad, but yes.
But no, that was fun. But I've been wanting you on because you're a fascinating guy to me, because your physical health is such a, a paramount in your life. Can we talk a little bit about how you used to be unhealthy and now you're extremely healthy and conscious of your diet?
Yeah, I was skinny for a while. Then I gained weight, especially after my mother died in '98, and then I just let myself go. But I always had health in the back of my mind. You know, I think most people we want to be healthy and we want to buy a house and we want to live a good life, but that's in the back of your mind. But it's like, when does it come to the front of your mind? When does it become the now? And I had 3 wake-up calls that maybe changed my life. I did a show somewhere, and this girl, when I got on stage, everybody was saying, good show, good show. And I had this tank top on, right? But, you know, when you wear a tank top, you just think, you think you're badass. So I had this tank top on, but my body was not the best. And so I get to the girl, and she says, instead of saying good show like everybody else, she said, either wear a shirt or wear the tank top without the stomach. And it didn't hit me. I didn't get it at first. I said, what? And then I was like, are you trying to call me fat? I didn't say, this was all internal. And the only thing I could think of was like, but you're dating me. I had no comeback for that. I just fell down. And then the other wake-up call was I was at a hotel in Colorado, 5-star hotel. They have mirrors everywhere. And whenever I get to a nice hotel, I just walk around butt naked. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure that you do the same.
I do. I do that a little bit. I do it at home, quite frankly. That's how I wake my wife up. I walk over and just kind of stand there
Ding,
naked. So that's like the first thing she can start her day with.
ding dong, wake up. So I was brushing my teeth and I looked in the mirror, and in the mirror I saw someone broke into my hotel room. And I was like, what the? And as I look, I'm like, and he's naked. And wait, that's me. I didn't recognize my back fat. My back was just a lump of clay, like a big piece of ham. You know ham? You ever see ham? No definition, nothing. That was my back.
That's a depressing thing. And we talked about this recently, but I was at a hotel with friends, and I would stand as like a bit, like it was a high rise. It was in Chicago, and I stood naked in the window, which is probably like a Me Too situation now, but I stood naked in the window over the city, and I had my friend take a photo. And this is like disposable cameras, so it wasn't an instant picture. He took a photo of me from behind, naked, and like 2 weeks later, we got the photo, and I was appalled.
What was the purpose of that picture?
To be funny. I thought it was going to be funny and silly to have, I'm standing like Superman on the windowsill naked, but looking at it, my back just dripped. It was like it was melty. It was just like a back smear, and there was no lines.
Like clay in the summertime.
Yeah, exactly. So I know that feeling of like, all right, I got to get it together.
So I put on a robe, right? And then I was so sad and depressed. And I would just brush my teeth, watching the TV, and I saw a thing where like there was like I forgot some athlete who was still playing sports at 44 or something. And at the time I was like 30. I'm like, damn, he's still playing sports at 44. And so that's when I realized, because at first I thought I'm just getting old. I'm getting old. But when I saw that story, I'm like, no, it's all mental. It's like, I got to change my lifestyle. I got to change my diet. And the final thing was, I was living with Patrice O'Neal, and I got sick. I got sick really bad. I was vomiting, a fever, you name it. I had everything, right? And then after 4 weeks or 5 weeks, Patrice said, yo, dude, call your doctor. I'm like, my doctor? I don't have a doctor, you know what I'm saying? Dr. NyQuil, Dr. Advil, that's about it. And then he said, well, just go to the emergency room. So I went to the emergency room, and then the doctor finally, they finally put me in just on that bed with that hard toilet paper. You know what I'm talking about, that hard toilet paper?
Oh, yeah, like the deli sandwich thing.
Yeah, the deli. And then so from 3 a.m. all the way to 12 noon, that's when the doctor finally came to see me. So I was laying on that thing from 3 to 12. And then he just came in, he barely touched me, and he said, oh, you got the flu. And they gave me the hospital version of NyQuil, and that worked. I'm not sure if that worked or because I was at the hospital. You know how like when you ever get to the hospital, all the symptoms go away. You're like, wait, come to my house. I'm more sick at the house.
Yeah, completely. That's like that mental to physical thing. Mentally, you feel better as soon as you think you've taken some action, which I think works with everything, whether it be depression or being fat. Like, you feel depressed because you feel overweight. You go for a run and eat a nice salad. Immediately, you're like, I think I'm getting better. I think like all it takes is just a little bit of action. Like, so going to the hospital, immediately you feel better because you're like, I'm in the right place.
It's like the sugar pills. Remember the sugar pills? I was giving people sugar pills, and they thought they feeling better.
Yeah, like a placebo thing for sure.
Yeah. So and that was it. And I got a bill a month later, and the bill was like $5,000. And I was like, what am I doing with myself? I can't afford to be sick. I can't afford to be unhealthy. And I'm not getting younger. It's only going to get worse. So I decided to change my diet, change my lifestyle, not diet. Because I tried many diets, and diets didn't work. So I just started chipping away, like small things. Like, it started in 2006. I just gave up all drinks and just water and green tea. And green tea with no sugar. If you add any sugar to green tea, it cancels the antioxidants. A lot of people do not understand that. Green tea is useless when you put any kind of sugar additive, whether it's agave, honey, brown sugar, whatever. It's useless. You might as well just drink a big glass of Kool-Aid.
Well, I got a glass of green tea right here with nothing in it except for green tea. And I drink 3 cups of green tea a day or more, sometimes 3 or 4. This is something we've bonded over before. I drink water and green tea exclusively. I quit Coke cold turkey about a year ago, last February.
Wait, Coke?
Coca-Cola. Coke, I still do blow for sure, but yeah, I drink. I'm the same as you now. Coke and no Coke, water and green tea only. Which tea I feel it has physical health benefits, but do you feel a mental health benefit from drinking green tea? There's something about the process of boiling it, steeping it, sitting there. Your first sip.
Smell.
Yeah, exactly. You smell it. It takes an hour. It slows you down. I feel like starting my day with a mug of green tea really helps me with my day.
And it sounds crazy, but yeah, it does. Yeah, it's like it changed your mood. I feel I don't have the right words. I'm not smart enough to tell you the right words, but yes, something happened chemically when you start treating yourself better health-wise, or you start taking care of yourself, or being more healthier. You know what I'm saying? I can't explain it, but I feel it. It's there. I'm not crazy. It's not like it's in my head. It's not the placebo effect. It really happens.
So, what do you do anything consciously for your mental health? Like, I know you do a lot of physical things which benefit your mental health, but are you a meditator at all? You don't go to therapy?
No, I don't do none of that. But not long ago, maybe long ago, I just started being more conscious and aware of placing blame on other things but myself. You know, so I stopped pointing the finger and I start pointing the finger at me, because as long as you point the finger at other things, then that means, well, I'm great. The world needs to change. You know, but then when I started pointing the finger at me, then I started changing, and I started, being aware. Okay, I'm the reason why I'm depressed. I'm the reason why these things are happening. Nothing else. So I have to make changes. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that is what changed my life. When I quit drinking, I became sort of actively sober, and that was like a big part of it. Is where am I at fault in this? Is kind of seeing your own role in everything. Because I was like that. I felt like everything was happening to me. The business hates me. You know what I mean? My girlfriend is mean to me. My parents everything's happening to me. And I started examining where I'm at fault. And it was a lot of some things are not your fault, obviously, but
right. But I feel like I try to take a lot of blame so I could, because I always want to be better. I feel like, like I don't want to be stuck in my ways. I want to be stuck, locked in. I always want to have an open mind and learn and constantly grow until I die.
Wow, you brought it to death. Jesus, Will.
My bad.
Don't bring up death. Now, I want to talk also. So when you eat healthy, I keep hearing this feedback.
As healthy as I can, huh?
I keep hearing this feedback from my microphone. Maybe it's the shitty microphone I'm using. Maybe I should unplug this microphone. Do you hear it when I talk? Do you hear like echoey?
No, not at all.
Maybe that's only in my thing. I sound good to you.
Yes, you do.
All right. God, maybe this is part of the show. It's a show about mental health and anxiety, and the whole time I'm losing my mind that we're not getting the proper audio.
And it's about learn to do microphone check before the show.
Well, I did do a microphone check. It sounded fine. I mean, hopefully my producer can figure it out and work with it. I don't know. When I talk, it sounds feedbacky, but if you're not hearing it. But anyway, so you're like,
I eat as healthy as I can. Like my diet changed gradually, and I'm making it get better and better. It's not perfect, obviously, but my toughest fight right now is with sugar. Like, although it's like vegan sweets, but it's still sweets. It's still sugar. So I'm working on cutting down the amount of sugars I consume. So also I've been switching from those sugars to like fruits, more fruits, and my goal is to try like a different fruit once a month.
Don't you run out of fruits eventually?
Oh, there's tons of fruits out there in the world, man. We just so used to certain fruits, but there's a gang of fruits and veggies.
A gang of fruits. Sounds like a gay street gang.
All right, don't get canceled.
All right, you're right. I get nervous. I forget what I was going to say. Now, I want to talk a little bit about fight, because first of all, you're 78 years old. I mean, how old are you? You're in your 50s, right?
I'm my early 80s.
You're older, much older than you look and feel to me. You're like you're ripped up. You got six pack, the whole thing, every muscle's tight. You're a fighter. How long have you been fighting for? Because I did a whole episode with my friend Diego. It was all about MMA and the relation with MMA and mental health. Tell me about boxing. Yeah. How did you get into boxing?
I feel like boxing helped me with discipline. You know, like it's one, because, you know, I tried to change my diet many times, but then when I started boxing, it's like fighters, man, their mental is on a whole different level. Like if you want to be good at this sports or this fighting, or, you know, just take boxing, like you gotta practice. You gotta practice. So practicing also includes you gotta change your diet, because if you eat bad, you're gonna be sloppy. You're gonna be sloggy. So you gotta focus. Is almost everything comes together. That makes sense? I'm not sure if I'm making any sense, but boxing helped me rethink the way I was doing things and everything. Like, and then also it just changed my mood. Like I used to slouch my back on stage, and just, you know, I used to sweat a lot. I had low self-esteem, and so boxing came in, and it just made me lift my chin up, and like, not that I wasn't looking for a fight, but now I'm not afraid to fight anyone. Not that I was afraid before, kind of, but now I feel like, you know, I have a fighting chance, no pun intended. But but the thing is not even about fighting, it's just about taking care of yourself and feeling good. You know, I remember the first time I sparred. Man, you ever sparred before?
Yes.
Sparring the first time, 3 minutes, I never again have I yelled at the TV at boxers of what to do, because that 3 minutes, it was hell. I was sweating, I was panting, and my trainer was yelling, keep your hands up, keep your hands, just yelling at me. I'm like, what? And then as soon as the bell rang, I just dropped to the floor, just dropped in the ring.
That's one round? You just did one round the first time?
One round, and I was like, And then imagine doing that for 10 rounds, 9 more rounds of that.
Well, in the old days, they used to box 15 rounds. Ali Frazier's a 15-round fight.
And before that was 20 rounds.
Well, that's insane. I mean, before that, there was no gloves.
Before that, there was no rounds. There was no bell. Just keep going too.
But yeah, I mean, I did a whole episode about MMA. I started training to do MMA and fight, and same thing. That first experience of sparring, and all of a sudden you're getting punched in the face, and you do shadow boxing, and you watch fighters, and you go, "Oh, I can do that. I see what they're doing." And then when somebody's throwing punches at you, and this is at like 10% speed, this guy's just showing me how to just tapping me, and I'm like, this is insane. But what that does is, he had a quote, my trainer that's a quote in the movie Fight Club, where it's like, once you're punched in the face, it turns the volume down on everything else. So anxiety starts to go down once you've had somebody punching you in the face and kicking you in the leg.
Once you get the punch in the face out the way, then you're like, okay, but I feel like if you keep dodging it obviously, you want to dodge, you want to get hit in the face, but you don't want to be flinching or like, you know, afraid to get hit. I feel like once I got hit in the face a couple of times, you know, I know this guy's power, I know this level, and I got that out the way, you know?
Right. So do you consciously think of fighting as like a metaphor for life, or you just feel the benefits from it subconsciously later and after?
No, I think about it in life and different situations, or like when I'm on stage, you know, like, you know, learn to breathe, learn to know when to attack, block, you know, eye contact is very important. I'm not sure in MMA. I'm not, by the way, I'm not shitting on MMA. I just feel like boxing, you use more energy, because I feel like MMA, if you grab and hold someone, you can relax a bit. Whereas boxing, there's no relaxation. That's why boxers grab each other a lot and try and grab their breath, and the referee come and break it up.
This
You
is
know,
going to be a controversial take. You're going to be getting nailed with tweets on this one.
I know. I'm sorry. Look, man. Look, both sports are great things. They have their plus and minuses. So pros and cons.
Right.
You know.
But as far as mental health, though, they're both very beneficial. I think there's something very beneficial about physically. Like I'm a runner. I just went for a run today, and I started running a lot more because of quarantine, because my gym closed, my MMA gym and my regular gym. So I've been running. Are you still doing? Are you just shadow boxing and doing push-ups and shit, or how do you work out during this time?
Yeah. I'm just I do a Zoom workout with my trainer Stephen Frank online for now, but obviously it's nothing compared to like in person, but it's better than not doing it. I did nothing for like 3 months, March, April, May, end of May, I started doing the Zoom workouts, and then I was a mess, just out of shape. I'm like, I should just continue doing something, but then at the time I was not going outside. I didn't want to, do anything. And the media was like, making you stay inside and all this stuff. So it was cool. But now I'm getting back into it. I'm doing a bunch of Zoom stuff, and I'm feeling good. Dude, look, sometimes, I'm not sure about you, sometimes when you're training, you hate it. You can't wait till it's over. You're looking at the clock. But when it's over and you like, whoa, that was nothing. I did it. You feel good. Like there's a goodness about you mentally and physically,
I just did that just now. I ran because we're recording this in the morning. I wanted to get a run in. And so I started the run, and like everything that's like a good habit starts off with like, I don't feel like doing this. I was just listening to a podcast. Sam Harris has a great podcast called Making Sense. And they were talking about how bad habits you feel good immediately. Like they have an immediate, like smoking a cigarette. Maybe you leave work, you get out for a minute, you take a break, you get some air, you get a nicotine fix, maybe you chat with someone, it has an immediate good benefit. But if you do it over time, you're going to get cancer and die.
Right.
Good habits are the reverse. Like you go to the gym and you work out and you just feel kind of sore and you're like, you look the same, you're just kind of like whatever, but over time it's extremely healthy. So it's hard to...
Oh, I know that. That's good to know.
It's hard to recognize those things. Like eating a healthy meal isn't as fun as eating a cheeseburger and fries and a Coke, but it's a much better thing for you.
Yeah, but
oh God, I hear police.
No, that's not me. Like another thing is like I'm not sure what else you did, but like I also did a colonic. You ever did a colonic?
No, I've heard mixed reviews on colonics. Some people say they're very healthy, and some people say they're not healthy.
I don't know about that, but I think they're great. I was against it at first because the whole put something up your butt, and I was like, what? I'm not doing that. But I'm like, that's just ignorant thinking.
That part of it I love.
And so when I did it, it was uncomfortable, but man, it took all this gook out, and I felt good. Like I'm for anything that's healthy. I'll give anything a try that's healthy. That's so it's all about, to me, the goal is health. Like if it's healthy or healthier, I'll try it at least once.
Okay. And you've never taken a spin with meditation, because I feel like you'd be someone that meditation serves well.
I meditated. I just feel like meditation is good, I think, for people whose mind is constantly running everywhere and they need to slow, they need to hit the brakes. And for people like me, but I feel like I meditate in my micro meditation.
Right.
Like I go through periods where I'm not thinking about nothing. I just relax and calm and just close my mind. But 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, a minute, you know what I'm saying? So I microdose meditation.
I like that. I mean, that's important. I mean, that's essentially what mindfulness is all about, is just taking a little break from the day, find your breath, focus on your breath, and just kind of calm that thinking, or recognize the thinking that you're doing and letting those thoughts pass. Because you seem like you're not a guy that's really obsessive. You're not like an OCD guy.
I like a routine though. Like if I get a meal that's healthy and it tastes good, I'm going to probably eat that same thing for the next couple of weeks. You know.
I do the same thing. Yes.
And or like when I'm boxing, one thing I love about Stephen Frank is if you come see, have you ever, no, I tried to get you to come many times, you never came. One thing about Stephen Frank is if you come see him 30 days a week, 30 days a month, a week, 30 days a month, right? Every day the routine changes, right? So, which is great because I used to have a trainer before, and he made me do the same thing for like 3 weeks straight, the same routine, and I got bored after a while. And then plus I wasn't seeing results. But with Steve, he was constantly, and I'm saying him because I'm not sure about other boxing trainers or MMA trainers, but he constantly changed the routine. So my body was constantly getting shocked, and then the excitement of like, what we're going to do today, you know? And that's what I like about it. So that was even though that changed, but I like the consistency of being inconsistent.
Right. Yes. That makes, that sounds stupid, but it makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah. Okay, good.
No, I get it. You got to mix it up. And then all the muscle confusion stuff, and that's good. Now, you're a guy who I talk to, you're very well read. You got a lot of opinions on a lot of topics. You know what's going on. Are you affected by the news? Because I never feel like I see you freaking out. Like I read the news and I'm like, oh my God, you know, climate change is going to kill all of us, or there's a race riot happening, or the Donald Trump's going to win again, whatever it is. You seem to be in the know of all these things, but it doesn't seem to change your disposition. Or maybe that's just my perception.
Well, no, I feel like you shouldn't really let these things change you completely. You know, unless it's happening right in your front yard. I mean, it is happening in our front yard, but I'm saying like the world is still going to be the way it is, but you shouldn't change unless it's for the better, if that makes sense. But if you're watching the news, look, if you didn't, let's say you didn't watch the news and you're just happy, then you watch the news and you're unhappy. It's like, why are you letting that affect you? That makes sense?
It does make sense to me. Now,
it's good to watch it because you should know, you should have information, but don't let it change your mood to a negative state where you're raising your stress levels. It's just unhealthy.
Now,
you know,
I don't want to get too divisive and into a divisive place here, because we're trying to avoid that and have a nice conversation. Well, we're going to have a nice conversation, but I don't want people to whatever. But these days you can get shamed for that though. Like I'm like the news, the social media, the news, it becomes too much. So I know what's going on, but I'm like, I got to take a break. And I'll read things like, oh, that's privilege. That's white privilege. That's this privilege of just ignoring the news. You get to ignore this news. And in my mind, I'm like, well, you could ignore the news. Obviously, if you're poor, you're inconvenienced, or if you're whatever word, I'm trying to be PC or whatever. But, and obviously African American, you're an African American man. It's a more dangerous situation, so you got to know what's going on. But isn't it still possible to avoid social media and the news and still live your life? Because I see things that are like, people are like, if you're just ignoring this or turning off the channel, this is bad or negative. But I'm like, well, I'm trying to take care of myself mentally.
What I'm saying is, the more you're aware of who you are and you have a great hold on that, and then you also want to be righteous, there's nothing wrong with watching the news if you don't let it change that core being and get you upset. Like, there's always going to be bad news. There's always going to be good news. You know, how come good news don't affect your whole day? You know, I'm talking about good news outside of yourself. Obviously, good news that, you know, you win $1 million, that's you. But I'm talking about like if someone else win $1 million, how come that don't, like, you know, it seems like bad news affect our whole day, but then when we hear good news, you take it in for that moment and then you forget about it, you know?
That's a great point.
Ask anybody, hey, did you remember any good news you heard this week? Nobody remembers, but they remember all the bad news. So it's like we're living in this world where bad dictates how we feel and what we do. Is like, you don't have to. What I'm saying is, you should use it for information. You should be aware and conscious of what's going on, as opposed to not go. But don't let that change your mood, or do something about it. So if you hear something bad, how can I change? How can I be better? Another thing is, I think the most important thing for all of us is knowledge, is education, is knowing stuff. Because most of the time, we clash because we don't understand each other. Why white people do this? Why black people do that? It's because we don't understand what's going on. But the more that we know about each other, the less I think we'll be bumping heads. Like if you're white and you want to understand this whole thing that we're trying to say, this whole movement that we're trying to do and create, or that we are doing, is get to know about the history of Black people, because sometimes, no one teaches you why Black people act this way, why they're doing this. There's 5 things I think you should. They 5 movies they could watch. This movie on Netflix documentary on Netflix called 13. You ever seen 13?
I watched it. Yes, I loved it. I loved watching it.
You liked it?
Yes, very much. I mean, it's
informative,
devastating, but yeah, it's great.
Another one called Racism. Wesley Gap Explained. You ever seen that one?
No.
Is explained racism, the wide gap. Sorry. The third one is The Death and Life of Marshall P. Johnson. Seen that one?
No. Shit, I'm 1 for 3.
Time, the Khalif brother story. You seen that one?
No.
And last one, When They See Us. Did you see that one?
Wait, that sounds familiar. That one I think I might have seen. That was on Netflix too.
The Central Park 5.
Yes. Yeah, that one I saw that in the theaters. That's how good of a person I am.
The theaters? No, it's a documentary.
Yeah, at IFC. They played at IFC. They got documentaries in theaters.
Yeah, so those will let you know about what's going on. And then I don't know, I feel like the more we know about each other, the better we can be, and we won't be insensitive towards, what we need.
Yeah, I think that I used to be at times like a cable news junkie, but that started to be a problem, a bad habit where I'm watching it all day.
But how? What did it do to you?
Well, after a while, you just it's because I agree with you what you're saying about good news and bad news, but on the TV news, they don't depict good news because it doesn't sell. They just want bad news. They want divisiveness, and the same with social media, where I like to get a little bit of information, know what's going on, but too much, it can consume you because it's just your brain, especially social media these days, that it's like, if you post this, you're an asshole. If you don't post this, you're an asshole. And it starts to go, you know what, I got to put this down and get away from all this stuff.
Yeah, but why are you letting these people tell you that you're an asshole?
That's a great point. And that's something.
Who's telling you you're an asshole who's the asshole award giver?
Well, this is a good point. And this is what my therapist said, the same thing. That's why I had to put it away and avoid it, because you start to you're trying to do the right thing. And then each person has an opinion on what the right thing is. And eventually I have to just go, well, why don't I just continue to be me? I know who I am. I know what's in my heart. Right. I'll just continue to be kind. But sometimes you'll see posts that are like, it's not enough to do this, yada, yada. Everyone wants to tell you what to do. And that's where I think social media becomes very sort of sickening. And I'd rather just step away and talk to some friends and meditate.
But it kills me, like how people just let social media dictate, how they feel, what they like. Because when you turn the social media off, can these people track you down? Can they say, hey, you didn't go on social media today and look at my post about blah, blah, blah. Where were you? Like, you know what I'm saying? So same thing, like you don't have to, or don't post if you could just go on social media and don't say nothing, just be a fly on the wall.
Well, that's what I usually do. I mean, I post only jokes, but then you see other tweets or dialogue and stuff, and it becomes too much.
Hey.
But sometimes it's a bad habit. It's like an addiction of like, you're sitting there with downtime and you're like, oh, I'll look at my phone just to check out. Or my intention is to get some information and it ends up being overwhelming.
Yeah, but I still think we do it to ourselves. You know, like you don't have to be overwhelmed. You don't have to let these people take over your your whatever. But we just do it to ourselves.
No, I agree with that. That's for sure. I mean, everybody is ultimately responsible for their own actions and even their own mental health. Same like what we were talking about earlier is
Right.
diet and habits and training, working out, and even mental approach. Ultimately, we're all responsible for it, not anybody else or anything else.
Mm.
Don't you think?
Yeah. You know, like we were talking about earlier about the cancel culture. You know, I used to think like, you know, hey, well, you messed up, then blah, blah, blah. But also then haven't we all messed up? You know, at some point, it's like, so why should everything be torn apart? Now, if you're sorry and you're being progressive, fine. You know, like, but to take away everything is not good. Like, how's that going to help? That also another thing, that person could still be racist. That person could still be non-progressive. Don't have to just be racist, but non-progressive. You know, I don't know. I feel like we got to find solutions in helping people change. You know?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think the idea of, and sometimes in our society now, there's no room for any mistakes. Even, I mean, that some of the cancel culture, they go back and find things that somebody said or did,
which is crazy,
10 or 20 years ago.
Yeah, and I think that's crazy. How you feel about that?
I think it's insane. And I think it's wrong, and it's sort of strange and vengeful. And so often it comes from people that identify, as you say, progressive or liberal. And I'm like, I don't think there's anything liberal or progressive about that. Is to fucking torch somebody for a mistake. Not, I shouldn't say torch, maybe that's a bad use, but to fuck someone up for something they did or said a long time ago that oftentimes in cancel culture is from a joke.
Yeah.
Kevin Hart and Jimmy Fallon recently and all that stuff. It's just, it's insane. I mean, it's like, it's an insane thing to do. And yeah, it's just not an actual progressive thing to do. It's sort of antiquated behavior to me.
Yeah, just to tear these people down and ignore the you know, the massive work they've done, you know, from a joke. Like, you know, obviously there's some people who now if you're currently thinking like this and you know, like there's some people now, they putting up posts, you know, F Black Lives Matter or racism is good. Okay, yeah, those people, but taking something someone said 10 years ago, I feel like you should find out, do they still feel like this? You know, like, hey, you said this like 5 years ago. Is that your current stance on gay people, or on Black people, or on women, you know?
Yeah. Well, and I think you have to check people's intentions. If they were like for instance, Kevin Hart said whatever he said or tweeted whatever, I can't remember what it was, but you got to check intentions of like, is this guy really spreading hate? Is he really saying, hey, gay people are bad, man? Or is he trying to be funny and silly in his way? I mean, I think in checking people's intentions is important.
Very important.
And also, I would also add, it's not illegal to be racist. So if someone's posting racist stuff, you could be like, I'm blocking this guy. I'm not supporting his whatever his business. I won't associate with this person. Still without, you know, saying we gotta ruin his life. I mean, you could just go, fuck that guy, I don't like that guy, and let it be without having to, because it's even unhealthy for you. I think the people doing the canceling, they think it's going to make them feel good, but in reality, it's just a quick, short fix, and it's going to put hate in your own heart, as opposed to just going, trying to either A, educate somebody, or B, going, fuck that person, blocked, ignore them. Because obviously there's always, and this is easy for me, I'm a white guy, so I don't know, but there's always going to be racism. And like I said, if somebody's racist and attacking minorities physically, then they need to be reprimanded and jailed. But if someone's writing, I don't like black people, that's really not illegal. They're just a fucking asshole.
No, but like I said, someone's writing that, like they writing that, then you should not support them. You should, shut them down. But if they wrote that, if they writing that, but even as a joke, but they wrote that like years ago, it's like that person could have progressed and could have changed.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's the hope, yeah.
So let's say that person did progress and change, and they did a lot for the community. Are you gonna take that one tweet they said and then just ignore all they did? Because people change. I believe people change. I believe people want to change. Well, not everybody, but some people want to change and they want to do better. But if you don't allow that room for growth, I think it may cause more harm than anything.
Yeah, I think also a lot of people that are racist or homophobic or xenophobic or xenophobic.
I'm sorry, what's xenophobic?
That's like fear of diversity, I think. People from other countries. I don't know the actual definition, but people that are like, we can't have these immigrants coming in here.
Oh, well, I know that was a fear. I thought they just, they was afraid that they was going to take their jobs or something, or take their wife or their.
That's the thing. A lot of those people are just getting misinformation. They're being hogwashed or brainwashed, whatever you call it, hogwizzled, whatever word.
I said earlier, education, right?
Exactly.
Is the key.
Yeah, and I think a lot of these people that have hatred or fear of these groups, they're just not around them. Like when you come to New York City, people are like, some people are weary of Middle Eastern, or Pakistani, or Afghani. I'm like, I live in like an Afghani neighborhood. It doesn't even cross my mind. They're just people walking around. You know what I mean? But if you're in Omaha,
right,
you might be like, dude, people from Afghanistan are here. You know what I mean? Because you've just never been around someone from Afghanistan.
Yeah, I know. I remember when I traveled in parts of Australia, this place called Ararat in near Melbourne or something, I think. I was the only black guy there, and white people were just staring at me with they would just look at me. They don't care that I saw them looking, staring. They just stayed looking at me, staring. Just couldn't believe that there's a black person there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess to see that for the first time is probably like, whoa, check it out.
Yeah, I mean? But how long you keep looking and staring?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I would not stare. I would close my eyes and run away personally. But no, I'm kidding. No, but was there a time in your life? You grew up in Brooklyn, right?
Yeah. Yes, East New York.
And so did you grow up in a black neighborhood, mixed neighborhood, or? It
was, when I was coming up, it was mostly white, and then you guys just bounce.
White flight, baby.
It became more Spanish and black.
Right.
I was mostly white for a long time. I went to an all-white school, and then my mother took us out because there was kind of racist there, and put us in a public school, and then the public school, I was, I guess, more relaxed.
Right. I feel like it seems like you have great parents, because I feel like you're a guy that just has no hate in your heart. I never see you being like, fuck whoever, like politically or anyway, like even talking about politics or whatever. It never feels like you get really furious. Like I can talk politics, I'll be livid. You seem pretty even keeled.
Well, that's because I look at politicians like they're basically all the same. They just, most of them, they start out as good, but then somewhere along the line, they become power hungry or money hungry, and they get corrupted. Not saying all politicians, but it's hard to tell who and which ones. But I can't, look, regardless who's in power, man, you still got to be the best you could be. You know what I'm saying? Like whether it's Trump, whether it's Obama, you still have to get up, you still have to work really hard. There's still going to be racism. I don't think racism is going to go away anytime soon, because you just don't change the way people think that easily. No, this is like years and years of this way of thinking pass on down. It's almost like a gene. It's almost like it's part of your DNA.
Yeah, I feel like, and this is a controversial take here, but I try to be empathetic to all people. I try to be. Often I'm not, especially sometimes when politics are involved or people that have hate in their heart for anybody, but I do try to be empathetic towards racist in some way, in that it is a learned behavior. They're getting bad information that came from somewhere.
Yeah,
Somebody passed that to them.
It's definitely a learn. No one's born, like, I know it's a running line, but it's like you wasn't born that way to hate. It was you, and if it wasn't your parents, it was your friends. If it wasn't your friends, it was the movies or TV shows you watch, or the media or the news stuff you watch to cast your opinion. So yes, you learn that everything in our lives is learned behavior. Learn, how to eat, how to walk, how to whatever.
Yeah, I agree. And so some people, they're just misinformed. They have bad info, and they're getting fed this thing in that way. And it's like a disease. It's like they're like racism is like they're stricken with a disease, and like many diseases, it's not going anywhere. But maybe I'm just a hopeful person. It does feel like we have progressed and continually progress in some ways. It seems like there's blips negative. It's, you know what I mean? It's like a chart that goes up and down, but ultimately it curves towards the better. Do you feel like the country feels less racist now than it did 25 years ago?
Less racist?
Than it was in the 80s? Or no, maybe I'm being naive or hopeful.
I don't know if it's less racist, because I feel like if it's racist, it's racist, but okay. You ever hear like the system is broke?
Yes.
Right? I don't feel like the system is broke. Because for something to be broke, that means it was working at somewhere along the line to begin with, and then it became broke. The system was just never designed for Black people. It was never like if you just do some history and you figured out that it was never meant for us. It was always against us,
Right.
And when I say a system, I'm talking about the police, the court, and jail. That's a system. And so it was designed to keep us, and hold us down. So it was like the system, you're going to keep hearing these problems about, I mean, look at like, have you heard the story about the black guy, white guy who raped a girl, two different cases, same age, they 18, they raped a girl that was 15, she was passed out drunk. The black guy got 15 years and the white guy got parole, no jail time.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard countless stories like that, countless. Right. I mean.
So, okay, so now, did it get better?
Well, what I mean, what I say it's better is that I think it's getting better in that.
Like it's still happening today. Like, why is that still happening today?
Yikes. Well, I'm saying ultimately in that, okay, so the obvious thing of like, there was slavery, there was segregation, it's not now. So that's some amount of progress. I know that's like, I'm just saying on a grand scale. So like now it feels like most people recognize now that the war on drugs has been a mistake, and it was designed to fuck up Black people's lives. And to me, I always use like one of the most prime examples of racism is in the 80s during the crack epidemic. People were like, lock these fucking animals up. And now there's a opiate addiction, and people are saying, we got to get help. This is a mental health crisis. Right. I mean, that to me, and then also that cocaine in the 80s, white guys on Wall Street were all doing coke, and it's essentially the same drug as crack. So, but I feel like maybe it's also, I run in liberal circles. People you talk to recognize these things, and people now recognize that the privatization of prisons and the war on drugs is a war against Black people. You hear that dialogue more that people now see that, whereas back then they didn't. That to me is progress, that we're like, we gotta, and
why do
that
you
weed
think
is becoming.
why do you think they didn't see it?
Why didn't they see it? I think they weren't getting educated on this. They were getting fed a false narrative about it.
Mm.
And I think there's less of that now. I think people, I mean, we had the most popular politician in America right now is Barack Obama. He won 2 terms. That alone could that have happened in 1975? I don't know. So that seems like a trending in a better direction. I'm not saying racism is just about done. It's almost over. I mean, I'm not saying that. I just feel like we are.
Some people thought racism was over when Barack was president. You know that, right?
Yeah, I mean, those people are
like, yeah, well, racism is done, y'all. Let's.
No, those people are incorrect, obviously. But I mean, I think the next step is, and I don't want to turn this into a completely political thing, but like the next step now, weed is becoming decriminalized. They should release people from prison that are in prison for a thing that is no longer a crime. But the decriminalization of some of these drugs seems like a progressive thing, and sort of the idea of wanting to end the war on drugs seems positive.
Well, let's use weed to switch back to health. Do you smoke marijuana?
No, I haven't done any alcohol or drugs in 7.5 years.
Oh, that's good. I never ever smoke or drink. But I do believe marijuana is way more healthier for you than alcohol.
I would agree with that.
And actually, there's health benefits to marijuana. I do take CBD. You ever took CBD oil?
Yeah, I just started doing that recently. I was skeptical because I'm an addict, but people were like, it's fine. And so I took some to fall asleep, and it's been nice.
But you see, back to, again, false information. We've been fed marijuana is bad, marijuana is wrong. You know, so even I was skeptic. I was like, I don't know about CBD. But then if you do some research and look at like the marijuana, it does have different components. It's like a person. You know, like there's the workout Joe, there's the podcast Joe, there's the comedian Joe. Marijuana is the same thing. Well, more or less, you know what I'm saying? Right. They get hemp, they get CBD, and they get the THC out of it.
Right. And the CBD doesn't fuck you up. It's the relaxing aspect of it.
Yes. And when I first did it, right, last year, February, I was taking a couple of drops under my tongue, and like in 2 weeks, I was feeling good. I'm like, I was feeling good. I was fully rested. I was getting the same amount of sleep, and my diet didn't change. I kept thinking, what did I eat? Why do I feel so good? And then, is that the CBD? And it was. I think it was the CBD because there was nothing else to my diet I added or any other supplements I was taking at the time.
So are you still taking it now?
Yeah. I still take it like, once every 2 days.
I was enjoying it, but then I ran out and I haven't got any more. So
I got some. You want some?
Yeah, just pass it through the computer here. Well, we got to start to wrap up, but I always enjoy talking to you. Do you want to plug some things? Where can people find you?
Wil Sylvince on Instagram and Facebook. Wil with 1 L, Sylvince. Also, I'm working on my film, I Am Maurice. You know about that? I told you about that.
Yeah,
a Haitian boxer that comes to America to pursue his love for boxing, and it's not even about boxing, but it's about about the fight outside the ring of trying to be a boxer, where you're so passionate about something that you're willing to do what you got to do, righteously to make it happen. That makes sense?
Yeah. What's interesting about that to me is you're that character, but with the film. You're doing what you need to do to make the movie. It's sort of like, I don't know. I'm also not smart enough to, I'm not smart enough to articulate things I want to articulate, but it's like a parallel. You're doing everything you can to make the movie because you want to make movies.
About that, but I guess so. But yes, so that's what the film is about. It stems from characters, stem from real people in my life, but it's a fiction. And we did a tiny trailer, 2-minute trailer to get some buzz on it. And go to GoFundMe.com/IamMaurice. Maurice, Maurice. GoFundMe.com/IamMaurice.
Yeah, go over there, folks. throw a few bucks in there and help create a beautiful piece of art. We got to take care of artists that are trying to do things outside of this fucking system that's the worst. It's not the worst, but it's a bad system.
It's getting better though. I forgot to say, yes, I feel like we are getting, because when you asked me about racism, I feel like, yes, it is getting better. Yes, there was a time Black people couldn't even walk down the street without being called the N-word or stuff being thrown at them or getting stopped and frisked like on a daily basis. Yes, it's getting better. Progress comes slow, but at least it's coming,
Yeah, we got a long way to go, certainly. And like I said, there's blips of negativity, but I think ultimately it trends up in the right direction. I would hope. And, I think, like we keep saying, is so much of it is personal responsibility. It's hard to change an entire system overnight, but if each person this is where I think mindfulness and meditation helps, and kindness and
I feel like this. I know this ain't got nothing to do with that, but like another reason why I take care of myself, eat healthy, is like, people are always looking for the best girlfriend, the best boyfriend, or the best mate, but we never offer the best of ourselves. We offer, this copy that's not eating healthy, that's lazy, that's procrastinates, not taking care of what they need to take care. But then we want the best people around us, but we're not the best. So it's like, I want to be the best I could be and then be around these similar type people.
I love that. I think that's a great note to go out on. I mean, that is perfect. And I appreciate you doing it. I always love talking to you. You're a guy that every time I end up talking to you, I leave going, oh, that was delightful. So whatever you're doing, keep doing it. And, yeah, it was great. I love you, buddy.
Thanks a lot, Joe List.
Yeah, thanks, Wil, man. That was awesome. I appreciate it. All right, I'm pressing stop.
Right.
Mindful Metal Jacket is hosted by comedian Joe List. Produced by Joe List. Edited by Matt Kleinschmidt. Executive producers Robert Kelly and Matt Kleinschmidt for the Laugh Button Podcasts.